Welcome back to our special episode titled Women in Cybersecurity Breaking Barriers and Building Bridges. I'm your host, Ariban, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you today. We have a phenomenal guest joining us, Mayurakshi Ray, a women board member and advisor with more than 25 years of experience in cybersecurity. Hello, Mayurakshi.
Hello, Hariba. It's great to be in your podcast. It's an absolutely pleasure to speak with you on the occasion of Women's Day. Even though I celebrate Women's Day on every day, but this is still a very good opportunity to again talk and about women's role on cybersecurity.
Definitely. And it's actually a privilege for us to have you here. So thank you for that. Thank you for taking your time out for this special episode on Women's Day. So, yeah, let's begin with the very first thing that I want to ask you is like, could you please share with me your personal journey and how you got into the field of cybersecurity? And additionally, I'm also curious to know like what inspired you to focus on advocating for gender diversity and inclusivity in cybersecurity, and why you believe that it's crucial to have more women in this field.
I am, by qualification, a chartered accountant. One of the maybe very few ones in the industry who would have made that move from being a chartered accountant into cyber. It happened by chance, actually. I had written my CA final exams, and I had about 3 months before my exam results were going to be out. And I wanted to do something rather than just sit at home. And I got an information that PwC, one of the largest consulting
Yeah, one
firms
of the big
in
four.
the world, not only in India, is building up a division which they, at that point of time, used to call as information security risk management, and they were looking for people to join them. So I went and applied with them, and I was taken in as a trainee, and that is where my journey in information security started. And as I qualified, and then the next 13 plus years I was with PwC into their information security team. And at that point of time, the term cyber was not there. It used to be called information security. So
That's
then,
true.
yes, I have by career always walked into the field of information security. uh, because it was an extremely interesting thing. It is always gives you an opportunity to learn. There are new things happening every day, so there was not a single day to get bored. And being a consultant, being into the industry as CISO, seeing both sides of the table, all these 25 plus years, I have continued myself to be into cybersecurity, continue to love that field. And then coming to the next part of your question, I believe always that there is no, you shouldn't think of your gender when you are doing any work, right? It is
That's
not
true.
only in your profession, but in your life also. So, when I look at the field of cybersecurity, and I see that still, even in these 25 years also, there are so few women into it. I do feel that this is a field, technology, cybersecurity, and the entire extended field of what is called as STEM, right?
Yeah.
Science, technology, information security, etc. uh, where women are still not that much. In fact, I read a global statistics that it seems that even today, less than 25% women are in cybersecurity globally. It's a very small number. So that from there, it started that we should have equality in every aspect. We should have more women into this field also, and that started my also the passion area of uh, I won't call too much of advocating, but trying to support, trying to encourage, build up groups, and even write, share my journey, try to inspire, try to talk, and support as many as I could in my limited capacity to bring more women into the field.
Definitely, when I heard everything, it was very inspiring for me also. Because let's just be honest, when we hear about cybersecurity, because there's this another aspect of people who think that women especially, that it's very technical, you won't have much options. But honestly, when I'm hearing this, then it is inspiring, definitely. Let's see. So before we proceed, I would like to ask you one thing. When you hear the phrase like women in cybersecurity, what is that first word that comes to your mind? For me, if you ask, it's like equal. The word equal and powerful pops up right over there. What about you?
Um, Slightly differently, it comes as rare, because women in cybersecurity are still rare, and that's an unfortunate situation.
That
So uh, in a way, if I anywhere in the in an industry forum, or in LinkedIn, if I'm part of any panel, the co-panelists are typically, maybe technology, but not cybersecurity. The When I sit in the boards, the other board members are technology, not cybersecurity. So, the cybersecurity and women are still, a field that, we would require more women to come in. And I do not at all believe that, the term that, women can't do because it's technical, it's absolutely a non-starter to say. Because, if so many women are now being engineers, there are so many women in IT now, which is much more than maybe even 10 years back. Then of course, cybersecurity also would have that many women. It is just that maybe the specialized training, the specialized education, the specialized even consciousness that cybersecurity is different from IT, that more and more, as people are recognizing, then, of course, more and more women would come into the field of cybersecurity.
definitely. So when we talk about the challenges, because the word rare, that's pretty obvious when you have stated that. And actually, it's there in the stats when you see around 50% of women leave the cybersecurity industry. This includes the technology industry as well, when I'm saying before they reach the age of 35, which I believe is considerably a very high number as compared to other professions that we see. And I would like to know from your experience, like what some of those challenges are that lead to this high rate of women in a high attrition rate of women in the cybersecurity field.
It is, I think your statistics would be, as you correctly mentioned, a combination of technology and cybersecurity,
Yes,
not
yes,
only cybersecurity.
it's
So,
both.
so if I take it a little broader, technology or cybersecurity requires people to be available at any times, because, say a network going down, right?
Mm,
It can happen at any time.
that's true.
Cyber attack, which is a more recent phenomena, last maybe a decade or last 5+ years, where we could see cyber attacks happening any time of the day. And, cyber attacks have a very, it is, if you also see a trend, industry trend, have a uh, have a knack of happening exactly on a Friday late night. That is where you will suddenly discover that, your network has been breached. So if you really see, if you are a cyber leader, or even, are part of the cyber team, right, you need to be there at those odd hours to manage those crises, or to manage to that call. That
Definitely.
can become challenging for women, because all said and done, women are also nurturers. They are also, not only looked at, it is also that, women build a family. It is, of course, you cannot really trust a man to build a family. It is a woman who builds a family. So women, because they have too many things at their plate, they have too many responsibilities to do. Every woman has another life that they have to equally or more be responsible at, their
Definitely.
family, their children, raising up, them, looking at, everybody's well-being, ensuring even that, people have eaten, in time. So with that, it becomes slightly a challenge, and it is a practical situation, to also, also meet those calls that can come at odd hours. Some of these jobs require a lot of travel. Like, for example, I, in my career, also, I was lucky. I was one of those lucky people that I had a very supportive family, a very supportive husband, who knew and respected and still respects that, I am a professional. I have that career equal to him. And so, if I need to travel, I need to stop everything and get into a call at 1 in the morning. He never blinked an eye, and he ensured that he will, make sure he will get the dinner ready, for example. So all these not is not possible with every woman. So I can understand that age where they are really, where their family needs their most attention, right? Where the children are young, is when they rather choose to give time to the family and leave the field.
Definitely. There's this thing like she is a lot more beyond 9 to 5 also.
Yes,
So for a woman, basically, when we see, so she just doesn't work from 9 to 5. It's actually another 5 to 9 that she works. So it's both
absolutely,
the rules. But
absolutely.
it's true. Like here now, with how things are moving forward, and people are being supportive, the family members, even the men, they understand this very well. But there's still another I aspect of people who are still struggling. Women are struggling with this thing. So this is the point that I agree. So yeah, but apart from this, there's unfortunately sometimes, when you hear about gender pay gap, this is something that is there. Gender pay gap, workplace biases that women face in cyber space as well as in technology industry. So if you agree to that, and how do you think we can work towards creating more equitable and supportive environment for women in cybersecurity?
It is a real challenge. I myself had gone through that challenge. The biases are real. People
That's
think
true.
that, if you are a woman, because that, you have those other responsibilities, they doubt that you would be as dedicated or be able to give as much time to the job, right? And that those kind of biases, without even verifying on a case to case basis, it is a bias for the entire, woman as a, gender, right? And thereby, those biases happen. There is a pay gap, there is a pay difference, that is a reality in the market. I think, it is both ways, in the sense that, while, see, biases do not break by we just talking or somebody advocating. It
That's
has to
true.
be
That's true.
led by example. So to women also, there is a requirement of not looking at themselves as a gender, not looking at themselves that, oh, I do have that challenge, I do need to do that. I always tell to my team members that, put your best foot forward. Okay, it is up to you on how you would put the balance. Nobody can teach you, because your situation is unique to you. Every woman has, comes through a certain background, comes through certain challenges themselves, comes through certain situations. So, of course, well, we can guide, we can support them, but at the same time, it is, for the woman to establish themselves as responsible. Take ownership of your life, which
That's
includes
true.
that how you would want your career to move. For example, some of my friends, who had to leave their career for their child, for nurturing their child when they were young, they live a life of regret. And I told them that, this is something you first have to come out from. You chose this, right? And there is nothing wrong in that. Okay, when you chose this, which means that your child was more important to you. You cannot compare yourself then with me, that I progressed far in my career or in my life and you could not. Because, your situation, you chose. The moment you chose, take ownership, be happy. And when you do that, when you will become a more confident worker when you join back work. That confidence comes in the work. And other than other things, of course, making yourself skilled, etc. So there is this other aspect that you have to also, if you want to really go to a level, okay, then again take responsibility of that, see what you need to do. If you have lost out on say 5 or 6 years because of your personal life, when you come back, upskill yourself on things where you can catch up, and then be in the back in the workforce, be presentable to being unequal to the other team members whom you are working with. Once you establish yourself, it is a gradual process, then that facilitates yourself to also fight for your case if those biases you see. Otherwise, you are just proving yourself that the biases are real. And to the HR team, etc., and to those managers and leaders who have that biases, again I'll just say that open your mind, okay, always try to give an equal opportunity and then judge, rather than judge first and then give an opportunity.
That's true. Actually, it starts like from within ourselves. It's us who needs to take a call rather than giving rise to all those assumptions. It's like it's us who needs to step up and normalize things from our end. So in the end, automatically, all when we say the word biasness and all those factors giving a tick to it, scheme down. So that's true. I actually read somewhere that within the teams who have more women tend to perform around 35% well in terms of like financially when we talk about it. Like, could you explain like how having such a diverse team including more women leads to more robust cybersecurity practices? It's true, but when how does it help when it comes to specifying cybersecurity having more women?
Women by their nature are more empathetic, they are more willing to listen and then take a very good practical judgment, because it comes to them, right? They are managing too many things, right? They are managing their life, their family, their children, and their career. So while someone who automatically manages such things, starting from giving birth to a new life, you know to nurturing that person to become a human being, and at the same time managing your career, judgments, taking a practical approach, stepping back to listen. Again, women are expected by society, by culture, to first listen rather than speak out, but that has a positive side. That automatically gives women a more capability to take a more informed decision, and when they take a decision, it comes to be a more well balanced, typically, than men, on an I'm saying on an average field. So if you make a woman a part of a cybersecurity team, whether it is say a vendor negotiation, right, or it is about a cyber strategy, or it is about how the policy should be implemented, okay, what tools will take, how the team should be composed of, what part of the team should do what, how we should organize the training, if somebody is failing in a training, how you should kind of handle those cases, right? In all these cases, the woman's instinct and the woman's practicality, empathy of judgment leads to our differentiation. And this makes a difference. I'm again talking about cybersecurity, but it is true for all women leadership levels, right? Like for example, some of the women leaders, not typically cybersecurity, I look up to. For example, Debjani Ghosh, who leads NASCOM,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Um, uh, Arundhati Bhattacharya, who after a hugely successful stint of leading SBI, made this radical change, and she is leading Salesforce, right? Look at this woman. I mean, what kind of judgment they're bringing in, and they are, typically, if you hear them talk, they're very soft spoken. They are not, very aggressive. They make their point coolly, but with an iron stillness. That is a quality that only a woman can bring, and no man can bring that kind of a quality, right? That that soft tone, but when they make a decision
impact.
and when they say, that impact they create.
Definitely. We are all, be it any girl when she's growing. So we hear this a lot from the society: think before you speak. And you actually, like this thought that you gave right now, has a very positive impact when it comes to the work culture also. And that's true. We think we are very calm, and we know because we are. um what we say, we are created in a way to balance things out, be it personal life, professional life. So that's where I agree. So this is there. Now, I have think from moving forward, when we talk about mentorship and advocacy are essential in empowering the next generation of women in cybersecurity. How can we inspire more women to pursue career in this field?
One, it starts from the home, and it starts from the education, right? So inspiring more women to go into the technology field. When we started, in fact, what why even started till maybe about 8 years back, there were very few institutes, if not any, which had a course on cybersecurity. There were courses, and for IT, and even those courses are typically the engineers who would come into being into IT. If you see today, also most people who come from IT have an engineering kind of a background.
That's true. That's
Yes, but and there were nothing of a formal education on cybersecurity. But now there are institutes which have courses on cybersecurity, right? There are many now. So I think it starts from the education, uh, with the family, the parents inspiring women to also go into technology, to also go into cybersecurity, to also go into science as a stream, which typically, even at our time, when you talk or think of women, they used to say that humanities is a safe field to take. And
I know.
why safe? Because humanities will not, again, it will be typically a 9 to 6 job, and you will have enough time to look to our family. Comes back to the same thing that I was saying, that if you are in a STEM, there are time can be anything, right? You are not time bound in your job, and that can pose a challenge with managing the family and the other responsibilities that women have. So here, coming back to it, in terms of advocacy, one is that I would or expect, or rather, uh, like to have the parents encouraging the woman to take up the study. Once they study, they come out, when they take the job, be clear, and here they can look up to those people who are leaders in the field, right? And we talked about that there are not many women cybersecurity leaders, but there are, and the number is growing, right, gradually. So the more we have people who are in the field, who become successful, who go up to the top and not drop out mid-level, right? Who go up to the top will lead to more role models for the ones, for the girls who are going to take that education, and that gradually will set the cycle on to have more people in cybersecurity. At the same time, now coming from the opposite side, people who are already at the leadership level, including me, have a huge responsibility to go back to the society, inspire, talk, support in any way that we can, whether it is giving those soft mentoring sessions, or some technical support sessions, talking to them, helping them in their career move, giving the right guidance. So even we have a huge role to play to ensure that we have more women coming into the field.
That's true. That's true. So, as we wrap up our conversation, I have one last thing to ask you. Like, what are your hopes for the future of women in cybersecurity, and how can individuals and organization, because there's organization in the end, it's the cybersecurity, be it any company out there, how can we all together contribute to create a more inclusive and diverse industry?
Okay. To start with, the field of cybersecurity is really huge. You
That's
know,
true.
I have seen, I don't know if it is by design or just by coincidence that, people who start, and this is not only women, even men, everybody who start think that, getting into, say, ethical hacking or into the applications or coding, even coding is getting into cybersecurity. So there is a little bit of knowledge gap, I would say. So only coding is definitely not cybersecurity. And, even hacking or getting into any application security is just one small aspect of cybersecurity. The cybersecurity profession is really huge. It starts with a strategy to policy to, having cyber tools, right? Like Synchrononics, a company which is a leader in cyber tools management. You can get into a career with Synchrononics, for example, or you can get into a career with a PwC or a Wipro who are more into cyber consulting, right?
That's
So you have to choose your field, but at the same time you can start on your field. um, and a little bit of education, both formal as well as informal, mentoring from, people who are already there, can help, the people, the girls who are trying to step into the field to make their choice, right? It is not true. And I actually had, those, early career girls who had come and asked me that, do I have to learn, coding, or do I have to learn hacking? Do feel free to learn if that is your interest area. But if you do not learn, it doesn't mean that you cannot make a career in cybersecurity, because it is huge, right? Starting from being a cyber auditor with a CISA qualification, to being a implementer, to becoming a developer, to becoming a cyber tool, like ethical hacking is just huge. And when you grow, so there are different stages in which you grow. As you start your career, you have to choose a niche and you have to become a master in one, right? Because in the beginning the specialization matters, but remember, after you reach mid management, the the change, the leap from a mid manager to a leader is a very significant move. And that move, if you are just specialized in one area, remember, you can never make that move, because a leader is required to have an overall perspective, who is able to understand all the aspects, right? Because, somebody who is a CISO, right, has to manage the entire cybersecurity. If he only knows application security, or if he only knows, say, cloud, he cannot, do a strategy for the other parts of the cybersecurity. So once you reach mid management, you have to then try to get into the other functions of cybersecurity to ensure that you get that knowledge, equip yourself to also understand what is a risk, how to manage cyber risks, how to, identify a attack, how to do incident response. So these are like different fields of a cybersecurity, which gives you an overall perspective. In terms of organizations, I think, yes, it is happening in organizations. They are opening up to recruiting. When they recruit, typically, as I see, they do not really differentiate. Most large organizations, right, they do not differentiate. Recruitment is happening, but again, what is happening is that, mid career people are, or mid, lower mid career, many of the girls are dropping out because of those challenges that they are facing, which we had already talked about. Right. So I think, at that point of time, it is a lot of the role that the organization should play to extend that support, right? Give them the maternity leave. Do not look upon them if they are trying to come back and they are trying to do a little bit of catch up. Like, somebody who had been on maternity leave for 9 months to a year, have a little bit of catch up. Be empathetic, be understanding that they have a bit of catch up, rather than, giving up on them, or trying to, look them down. So organizations need to extend that arm of support, uh, directly and indirectly. If required, give them the support to also, build up the skill set. Give them the support to work in part of the cyber team, which, whereby they might, be not required to work at odd hours. They might be able to go back to their family till, say, their children are young. Once they are, older enough, and that woman is also ready, you can always, take them into a more, more level playing field. Yes,
definitely.
the responsibility is both sides.
Definitely, it's true. And here at Appknox, I'll tell you, we take care of all these aspects in terms of when we talk about gender diversity. And that's why we have taken this initiative. We talk about it's like she leads. This is the campaign that we are running this International Women's Day. The she leads, and the hashtag is like you lead. So creating, and the main purpose was creating a gender diversity. Let's everyone is equal. Let's not hype it up, because it should come within ourselves, when you mentioned in our conversation. So just before wrapping up, one last thing: if you have to give a one line like quote, or maybe one line message to everyone out there, what would that be, like, in just one word or one sentence?
uh, I would say, I had said it before, do not look at yourself as a gender. Look at yourself as a person, right? The term gender diversity is extremely wide. I would not like to use the term because it is not only about men and women. It
It's about
also talks about the,
other
the third
pronouns.
gender, right? Yes. And actually, it is much more difficult for them to come into them because they are not even accepted in mainstream. Forget about cybersecurity, forget about any,
That's true.
corporate job. So it is much more, tougher for them, right? So if we are talking about, yes, diversity, I would say first, and this is something that I have followed always, and I have seen that it comes both ways, because I never looked at myself as woman as someone who has a challenge. Okay, if I have other responsibilities, it is up to me how I'll manage that. I never brought that to the company, asked for any special privileges, right? I did not compromise on, every new project, every challenging project which I knew would give me a challenge to learn something. I've grabbed it up, right? All my life, my work required me to travel a lot. I traveled, right? And if you see, all the leaders, have actually done that, and I mean the women leaders also, right? That when you have your vision very clear, think of yourself as a woman, contribute to what you need to, go to, and then you'll see the world will again look at you as an equal, and rather than as someone who's looking for something special or privilege. Like, if you try to say, I'm a woman, please give me this, you will always be looked as a woman,
That's
that,
true.
oh, she requires something special. Okay, then, the bias automatically comes into being, not only on a man but even on a woman. Like, if or one of my team members say that, because I have this, it automatically builds into my mind, right? Otherwise, if she is doing it and at the same time I'm seeing that, she requires, then I would also not be biased. I will also try to give her a equitable a solution rather than, a biased solution, and that matters a lot.
That's true. That's true. And actually, I've right now, it's this perception have been revived very recently. I had been in, like, in our team also. Everyone follow this. Like, if it's equal, then treat it as a equal.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is there. Anyways, thank you so much. Thank you so much. This couldn't have been so inspiring if you were not here, trust me. And I personally, each and everything what you said had was very impactful on a personal note, that I was just smiling all this time, and it was all from my heart. It was very inspiring. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part.
Thank you, Ariba. Thank you, Appknox, for giving me the opportunity to, reach out to more women. If I always say, if I have been able to inspire one woman, and I think, it makes my effort worthwhile. If you say today, those kind words make me happy. Thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.